What is going on, everyone? PPS here, back with Monotone, ready for another round of Pass the Prop NBA edition. This is a huge slate. Lot of good games on today. Not too many huge spreads. What did you think about the slate so far?
Yeah, no, it's one of the best days we've had in a while. Yesterday I think was a pretty good day for a small day, honestly. But yeah, today's kind of the real deal. It's kind of those days we all look forward to. You can really get a lot of action in, find a lot of nice spots that are real sneaky. So I'm real fired up. I'm excited to get some good ones in here. I think you and me are going to get some winners. I bet we're going to see some pretty good ones in the chat too.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah, dude, there's so many games and there's like not many blowout ones that I'm seeing there, which has been kind of that with the COVID stuff and all these guys missing and all that. That's been kind of my issue with a lot of these games is you just never know till like 15 minutes before the game, and then we'll see how it rolls today. But I do like this slate. I think we got a couple winners here. I like looking at yours too. Should be a good one.
Yep. Especially these long shots. It's been a little bit since I've gotten some of those in. I think we found some pretty nice ones here. I'm excited.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be good. I like a few of yours. I'm gonna be tailing yours. I looked at it already, obviously, to plug it in, but I think we should be at least getting one of ours to cash here. That's really all we can hope for is getting one of them to go through. And let's get it rolling. I'll pop yours in right away. And then we'll just kind of trickle in with the chat here and stuff and get them in here as well. So we'll start out with your first one. And we actually have two guys on the same team here going on our first place, but I'll let you roll with yours first.
Sounds good. Yeah, so this one was weird. This one actually moved to 13.5, which, I mean, I actually don't know how that happens for a guy like Aaron Gordon. You rarely see movement on guys like him. So I played at 13.5 too. I think that's a perfectly fine spot there. But yeah, we're getting a great matchup here. For most people that watch basketball, they know Jokic really doesn't have a lot of help right now. I mean, I almost feel bad for the guy. He's playing in MVP form, just playing completely out of his mind. Every single advanced metric out there kind of tells us that he's the best player in basketball right now. But it's really hard to tell because the supporting cast is so bad. But Aaron Gordon has come back over the last two games. And in the first game, they just kind of ramped him up a little bit. They just got him back into the flow of things. But he actually hit this number pretty easily in only 20 minutes. Then in his second game back, we actually saw him play 33 minutes, which is a big improvement for Gordon. Even when he's healthy, he's normally a 27 to 30-minute kind of player, or at least that's how the Nuggets seem to use him. Sorry, am I good? Is my internet okay?
Yeah. Everything's good. Everything's good on my end.
Sounds good. I was just making sure. But yeah, so now we essentially are getting him it's not a great matchup, right? We all can understand that the Jazz do have a good defense, but he actually hit this one really easily in their last matchup against the Jazz. And it's kind of clear that they're looking to him as like a secondary scorer kind of guy next to Jokic. We already know how much paint presence Gobert does have on that team, but when you're chasing around one of the best centers in the league, then Gordon's going to have a couple easy lanes to just crash to the basket and get a couple easy buckets. So I think this should be pretty easy. I saw someone say they see 14.5. I did see that, but multiple U.S. books have 13.5 too. And yeah, also if Gobert is out because he is questionable, this is great. I mean, Hassan Whiteside to protect the paint for 30 minutes sounds amazing to me for Aaron Gordon here.
Yeah, and I know Hassan Whiteside actually missed the last two games with the concussion too. So I mean, I don't even know what they might be bringing out Royce O'Neal to play the 5, and that would be just absolutely brutal. I like it. I like it quite a bit actually. I'm seeing that spread move because I actually have a play in this game as well. I'm seeing that spread move. It was like 5.5 like 2 hours ago. It's down to 3.
Yeah.
So we're seeing tons of movement there, and I think that obviously helps us. So we can avoid that blow up potential because I mean, if we're playing best fives here, best lineups, I think the Jazz run away with this one. But now you're going into Denver. You're going to be missing quite a few guys, could possibly be missing. I would say Gobert is probably their best, if not second best player. He's, I think, as much as impact as Mitchell is on this team. And yeah, I really like this spot. Gordon is definitely taking that step up. I think I'd play this pretty high if Morris does miss. They said questionable, leaning towards probably not playing tonight. So if that's another 10, 12 shots that are open for everybody else. So yeah, if we miss Morris too, I think this one should fly over.
Yep. I just saw someone say FanDuel does have 13.5, so that's obviously where I would go to this one. Like I said before, I'm really surprised a guy like Aaron Gordon moved up. I didn't see anybody else on him at all, so I guess the books either are scared that Gobert is going to be out, or I'm not really sure, but it's trending in the right direction.
Perfect. Got some people in. Thank you guys for popping in at around that 2:00 time. Hopefully we're splitting your day up in half. You're at work, you listen to us, you get some plays in right away. And Steve said Gobert is likely out here too. So yeah, that's even more. I mean, it's gonna be nice. I do have a play here in this game, and I'll have it in a second. FanDuel, like he said, and then we got thoughts on Kyrie props. I just don't know how much he's gonna play, man. I really don't know. I really have an issue to see how many minutes he gets. What do you think? Like 20 to 25, maybe?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for tuning in, my guy. Gotta make sure to go follow that guy right there. But yeah, I mean, Nash did say he's gonna play. It was really not the most helpful quote, but he said a good chunk of minutes. So a lot of people are interpreting that a lot of different ways. But the common consensus is a lot of people seem to think he's playing pretty big minutes tonight, closer to 25 to 30. I have a little bit of trouble believing he gets to 30, just because you got to understand, even if he's training every single day, he's in the gym, he's keeping up. I mean, NBA game shape is so much different than anything else, really. Like, you actually can't prepare for it. They were interviewing the Rockets rookie center Sengun, and he was the Turkish League MVP last year. And people were wondering, why does he only play 15 minutes a game? And he's like, listen, like, the coaches are looking out for my body. I've never done anything close to like this, and he was the MVP of the Turkish league. So I read some reports that Kyrie was playing games in like high school gyms to keep in shape. So anything could happen right here. I'm excited to watch it, really. I'm not going to bet on it. I don't think there's a clear enough angle either way, but I'm just hyped to kind of see what happens with the big three back on the court for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, really, you have I think the best chance you have of winning a Kyrie bet today is betting his alternate unders as low as they go, and then betting his alternate unders as high as they go, because because they're not going to be fully built in yet. Yep. So we could have a pop-off game or just a normal Kyrie game, and he'll crush every single over. There's also, I hate Steve Nash. Steve Nash is the worst coach I've ever seen in my life. I think he's even worse than Jason Kidd. And that's hard to say as a Bucks guy, because this dude literally will play. If you're down 10, he will pull his entire starting lineup. I tweeted about it like 2 days ago. I didn't have any money in this game, but it did help me a ton in FanDuel, because Harden was so highly owned, and Durant was super low owned. Durant had 55 points and he played like 30 minutes. And they just didn't bring him back out. And I just don't understand his thought process. And then Bruce Brown ends up scoring 42 fantasy points and just destroying the slate, because he didn't even bring him back in for his last set. And it was, as a guy who faded Harden the night, I was very happy, but I can't even imagine putting a pretty big bet on it, because it was a great matchup. They just got blown out by the Grizzlies. It was the Grizzlies game like a couple days ago. Yeah,
exactly. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of unpredictable aspects in this one. I like the alternate overs or alternate unders. I mean, I don't know if you saw, his assist was only 3.5. This is a guy that we know is a great playmaker. So I saw someone in my Discord hit 6 assists at like plus 370. I think that's something I'd definitely be into right there.
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's stay in the same game here with the Aaron Gordon one. I'm going with Jokic rebounds, 12.5. I was surprised. I saw this on DraftKings about 45 minutes ago. Just checked. It's around minus 135 now. I think it should be 13.5, man. This is just a disrespectful line. Even if Gobert doesn't play, for this play, I would prefer Gobert in the lineup, honestly. I want that big center underneath where he has to guard him, and he's going to be right in the way for rebounds. But Jokic, head-to-head with Gobert, man, he destroys this dude. He played him last year 3 times. 3 times he averaged 35, 12, and 9 on this dude. Like, it's just complete dominance here. On the season, he's averaging 14 rebounds per game already. Now he has to, obviously, if Gobert is in there, I like that a lot. He's sitting at number 3 in the league at a 23.8% rebounding percentage. And also, this, like I said, the spread keeps moving down. So even if Gobert misses, I think this game just stays closer. Because Denver really does have a hard time scoring the ball. I mean, it's pretty well known when you're seeing games in the 90s in the NBA in the 20th up here, right? These guys just can't score. And it's really comes down to, I was watching their last game. I had Gobert rebounds last game. And this dude had 4 boards at half. And then all it took was one bad half of shooting by the other team. He had 15. He ended up with 15 boards in that last game, 11 in the second half. His last 3 games that are competitive, by competitive, I'm saying 10 points or fewer. He has had 35, 38, and 35 minutes and 19, 22, and 21 rebounds in those games. So when he's out there on the floor, there's really no one else to rebound, probably besides Aaron Gordon. Those are the only 2 guys that really rebound on this team. And he's actually hit this in 30 of 35 games on the season. So pretty nice sample size. I think this should have been around 13.5. About the same price, to be completely honest, with the Gobert matchup. Maybe the books are smart, thinking Gobert's out, and maybe Jokic goes out a little bit, but a rebounding percentage that high, I just can't avoid this number. I just think that it's way too nice.
Yeah, no, and even building on that, think about even if Gobert is out, who he does have those nice stats again, and Whiteside does end up playing. Whiteside's not like a stretch big. Whiteside's going to stand right under the rim, and that's where Jokic will be too, which is, I mean, if Whiteside's the starting center tonight, I think a 20-plus rebound game could be a nice little sprinkle too. It's not our long shot today, or at least it's not mine, but I would think about it, honestly, just because Whiteside is going to plant himself right under that rim. He's also a guy that goes for blocks a lot, and as we know, when the main defender goes for block, help side defenders tend to get the rebounds, but also offensive rebounds open up a lot of the times. If Whiteside jumping around for, trying to get 5 blocks a game, which he actually could do if he's starting and playing 30 minutes, and Jokic could grab a couple offensive boards himself. So, I mean, Jokic was the guy that I didn't trust at all to get rebounds last year, just because he'd go from 7 to 13 on a day-by-day basis. But this year, he's really ironed that out. He's super consistent. He's one of the highest usage players in the league. So there's obviously, I'm surprised this isn't even a number. I thought it would, like you said, be 13.5 minus 120, So this is a good number for sure right here.
Yeah, this is DraftKings exclusive. I couldn't find it anywhere else. 13.5 was minus 105 on FanDuel. So if you do have the DraftKings app, go and lock this one in. I just think that this is insane. I would love to see his offensive rebounding percentage, because whenever you look at the ESPN app and then see 4 straight pictures of Jokic, just tip shot, offensive rebound, missed tip shot, offensive rebound. It's perfect, man. He's literally perfect. And you can never hear me say that. I'll probably never say this, but I actually don't hate spending up for him. This dude he's 11-4 on FanDuel tonight. And that's low in my opinion. This guy's a 12K player, dude. He's averaging 60-something points per game. This dude is all over the place. Ooh,
yep.
There. Like it. Make sure you go over to PointsBet. That's the best line I've seen. So go lock it in over there. Thank you, Brandon, for dropping that in here for us.
Yeah, Brandon always gets me with those, man. He's one of my guys. He's always pulling up the PointsBet line. I always forget to check that site for whatever reason. But yeah, good catch right there.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let's go to number 2 play for you here.
Yeah, okay, so this one, it might take a little bit of convincing, because it honestly took me a little bit of convincing. It was one of the first plays I looked for last night when I took a glance at the slate, and I think this is captured really well just by generally talking about the defense that's going on the other side of this matchup right here. As we know, Portland has been a struggling defense over the last couple of years. I guess they think they fired their coach, don't change any personnel, and things change. But surprise, things haven't changed. And I saw a quote a little while back, and it was pretty much like, if your team's in a slump, just look at the calendar and check when they play Portland, because that's really when everything is going to come together. And I think that's true in this situation right here. Leading scorers have absolutely demolished the Portland Trailblazers over the last couple of weeks. We all just saw it highlighted on the biggest stage with Trae Young dropping 56, I believe, the other night. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't just start with him. I mean, LeBron had 30 plus a couple nights ago. Every single day, check the box score, look through, look at the leading scorer, really the guy that's going to score the most points on any given night. Look at that guy, and look how they go do against Portland. It's kind of crazy. Lowry is still here, but I wouldn't say he's the leading scorer. I think he's the leading facilitator. He's going to get everyone in a position to succeed, but when Herro touches that ball, he really wants to score it. Jimmy Butler is out of the lineup. Duncan Robinson is out of the lineup. There's going to be plenty of volume for him right here. I think we're looking at a relatively close game with a lot of offense on both sides. It's going to be one of those games, whoever scores last wins, So I think Herro's in a good spot to grab about 25 to 27 points in a situation where he really kind of can be the alpha in this game. I mean, they're probably going to pair his minutes where he's going to play with Lowry some, but he's probably going to be the guy when he's on the court for most of tonight. So I'm looking forward to taking advantage of it. This is a high number. That's why it kind of does take a little bit of negotiating. I kind of was hoping for a 21, a 22, but it's clear the books understand that this is a great spot and they hung a high number, but I'm still ready to go there. I'm still liking 23.5.
Yeah, no. And I think 23.5 is pretty generous, to be honest. I mean, who's going to be guarding this guy? Maybe Norman Powell, who's okay. He's not a great defender. Or Anthony Simons. Like, no Dame in there. Like, you're going to have Anthony Simons try to body up Herro. It's going to be a long night. I mean, Portland won their last game, but they had to score 125 points to do it.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's not many teams that you're super comfortable playing a guy at 23.5 and being very confident, and especially when he's probably the number 2 or 3 option when everybody's healthy. But this is the spot to do it. Portland is just dreadful. I've been hammering second half overs in those games. Every time at halftime, when I see the Blazers at half, go right to it. If it's 110 or lower, it's a lock, man. These dudes literally don't play any defense. And we're going to probably see, like I said, Anthony Simons at that starting point guard with no Dame. I almost really like the Heat money line tonight at minus 125. That is ridiculous. I think this should be a wider spread, to be completely honest, because I don't think that Portland really has much outside of Norman Powell, maybe being able to exploit Nurkic down there against Miami. But man, Herro's going to have a day. If he makes 25% from 3-point range, this is still going to crush. It's just, he could drop 40.
Exactly. Yeah, he's taken I believe he's taken 13 threes in his last 2 games. You don't have to hit too many of those to get here. And even if he's not hot from beyond the arc, Larry Nance Jr., who's one of their better help defenders, better rim protectors, he's out the game. You can attack Nurkic pretty well in the paint. So even if he's not feeling it from 3, I still think he can get the job done in the paint, get to that foul line, really rack up some points. And like you said, no one's going to play defense in this game. And maybe pair it in with Heat money line for a little sprinkle too. I actually don't mind that at all.
Yeah, no, I like the Heat quite a bit. I don't bet money lines very much, but that would probably be one that would get a sprinkle from me for sure. We'll get to the questions here in a second. I'm going to get through my last pick, and then we'll get to the questions here. And I'm going plus money. I'm going Daniel Gafford double-double tonight, plus 115. I'm seeing that obviously on DraftKings. I saw it on FanDuel at like plus 110. But I just don't get this one. I really don't. No Herro. Since Herro has been out, he's gotten 30-plus minutes in 3 of 4. The only game that he didn't get 30 minutes, he was getting toasted by Vucevic when they played the Bulls. He got like 25 minutes. And in that same game, he was still 8 for 9 from the field. He was just getting burned on defense. Now they really have no other option right now. I mean, who else are you going to bring in off the bench here for your Washington Wizards, right? There's really nobody there. I mean, you could try to put Denny at the 5. Really, that's going to be your only other option without Herro in there. And we have a nice little spot here. He's hit double-digit scoring in 7 of his last 9. Massive, massive pace-up spot here. 4 full possessions for Washington tonight. Really sitting at a pretty nice 16.2 rebounding percentage. And we're playing that Charlotte team here where they played Charlotte last game. And when they played Charlotte, he was kind of in the same type of pace, right? He's getting that same type of pace here. Playing the Rockets tonight. When we have that many more opportunities, he had 11 boards last game. The only thing that I'm really worried about is the rebounds. This is pretty much like betting his over 9.5 rebounds at plus money, because Gafford has been money from the field, shooting an absolutely crazy percentage. I think his last game was like 7 for 9. Game before that was 6 for 7, and then an 8 for 9. So all he really needs there is 10 rebounds. And I really think that this is going to be that opportunity here. A lot of 3-point shots going to be thrown up in this game. Big pace. The only real other guy who's really rebounding the ball is Kuzma on this team. So I like Gafford here pretty much to get 9.5 rebounds at plus money.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's actually really sharp, right? Because I just checked all the major sports books. 9.5 rebounds is minus 130 on FanDuel and DraftKings. Like, for all the reasons you stated before, with Daniel Tice and Christian Wood playing center for the Rockets, I mean, Gafford is going to get 10 easily there. It's just about, can he get the rebounds now? And like you said, in that one game where they actually did have to take him out, they put in 6'9" Anthony Gill to play the 5 and defend him. He did pretty well. Right after that game, he went into COVID protocols. So
Yeah, he's out.
yeah, he will not be available. So literally, I mean, the only alternatives when he's off the field at the 5 are going to have to be some kind of small lineups with Kuzma possibly, but it's probably going to be either Denny or Bertans at the 5. And with how much of a defensive, liability Bertans is when he is in at the 5, we're going to see a lot of Gafford minutes, and this is a huge matchup. I think we're kind of just betting, can this game stay close enough? I mean, honestly, I have absolutely no clue what the Rockets are doing with KPJ and Wood, because they were both punished for one game. But from everything we read, I mean, is a 1-game suspension enough to just get everything back on track here? I mean, Porter stormed out the arena. Wood is screaming at people on the sideline. I mean, I don't know how much these guys are going to play. So if this game can stay close enough, then I think Gafford's in a great position to really kind of have a ceiling performance tonight. But I'm scared of this game, honestly. I think I'm the only one on gambling Twitter with nothing in this game so far. So
yeah, no, I don't like a lot of spots. I think honestly, Raul Neto being back is huge. Everybody's on Bradley Beal. Rebounds, assists, all that. Man, everybody forgets about Neto actually being good. That dude is actually not bad at basketball.
Oh, yeah.
He's a great facilitator. Every time he plays the Bucks, he destroys us with just that little float over the top or a little kick out to 3. And this is the team that he can do it with. I think that this is a ceiling game for Gafford and possibly Kuzma if he's able to hit his threes again. Beal, his price is coming up everywhere. I mean, everything is pretty spot on. I just think there's no more value left on Beal lines, to be completely honest, especially with Neto. I get it, he's been out, but I still give him 20 to 24 minutes in this game, and that's enough to really hurt Bradley Beal's numbers here for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm actually glad you said that. I don't really add everyone in my Discord very often or not, but I actually added everyone this morning. I was like, anyone have a Neto line? He's in a smash spot. So we haven't talked about this at all, but to hear you mention that obviously gives me a lot of confidence. I'm very excited. I really hope a book does post his number today, because this guy's also a real tough guy. Like, for conditioning, a lot of guys sit out and stuff like that. He played like half of last year with like a torn like shoulder muscle. Mm-hmm. Like, he's just a baller. He really is a good contributor. And another thing we saw earlier in the year is he was really the only person they trusted to run the offense besides Beal when Dinwiddie was off the court. They didn't even trust Holiday to do that same thing. So considering the fact that this team clearly does trust Neto for good reason, I think he's in a great spot. And if any of you guys see any lines today, let either of us know, because I'm in for sure.
Beautiful. Heat 25 plus. Win for the Heat, performance double. I like that. This isn't bad. Double on each. I think that's a good spot too. It's just we're missing so many bigs. It's not like now that Neto's back, you're going to have you maybe go from that 43 minutes that Beal's getting, maybe he's down to 39, right? And that's enough to cost off the ceiling. It's just Gafford points per minute, Kuzma points per minute are insane for their price points. And I feel like the books have to make something else happen here, because Gafford last game, I had his over 10.5 rebounds. I also had his double-double for a VIP play, and that was like minus 115. That crush, he had like 6 boards in the first half, then just goes out on a rampage, grabs like 3, and then just sits there, comes back. And usually we don't get that late game when Herro's there. He doesn't get the late game run, right? Because Herro kind of runs through that whole like 8 to 10 minute period. He's getting those minutes now. He's getting, like I said, 35 minutes in a few of these games. And that's really all you need with a guy who has this high of a point per minute production that Daniel Gafford has.
Yep. And then we had a question right before too about Halliburton.
Oh, yeah.
Is that someone you've kind of bought into? I mean, the whole world is kind of in on Halliburton. I'm curious what you think about that.
Yeah, no, I'm off of Halliburton tonight. Yesterday I was on him on rebounds and assists over 12.5. That was my biggest NBA play yesterday. It's just coming off a back-to-back, going against the Hawks here. It just doesn't scream like I don't feel like there's value there. Too many people are on him. You go on gambling Twitter, he's like the first name you see. It's just it's honestly seriously a curse. Like it's actually a thing where too many people are on it. Like when too many people are on something. I even said that I had a max play on Ole Miss on the first game of the season in that. I don't remember what bowl it was. I had a max play on him, and then I saw like 7 people freaking tweet it out. And what happens? He gets hurt. Matt Corral gets hurt, and then I'm like, oh, all right. And then I waited till they came back, tied it up, and then I live bet Baylor. It's just it is a real thing, and I don't believe in this stuff usually, but I mean it's a real thing. It actually is.
No, yeah. I mean, like I said too, or like you said, sorry, it's real popular, and also De'Aaron Fox is also a facilitator, and he's good on the same team. Like it's 2 guards battle, like to trust Halliburton to get 9 assists on a daily basis with Fox on the same team is just tough for me. It really, I know they don't play defense. I know they play at a fast pace, so it kind of balances out a little bit. It's just tough. And I know the Hawks do, their defense is real bad this year. A lot of factors have kind of led to it, but it's interesting. Halliburton, with how many people are on 8.5, he's definitely getting subbed out with 8 with like 24 minutes for no reason, and we're going to be sad. But
yeah, no, everybody's on Halliburton because Fox was out. I have really barely touched Halliburton since that's come back because truly, how many assists are there to get, right?
Yeah.
Truly, how many are there? In the last 3 games, 6, 6, and 7 assists for De'Aaron Fox. So every single one of these, like, I loved him when he was there without him because Buddy Hield will chuck it till his freaking arms fall off, right?
Yep.
And now you have Damian Jones, who he'll be later on in the show for me. Damian Jones is a freaking monster, man. I love that dude. That dude plays good freaking basketball, and that's all you need is you need a point guard to run in with. But they're still running like Fox in these last 5 games, 33, 35, 31, 33, 35 minutes. It's not like he's taking time off, right? He's still going to get his same allotment of minutes. And when you're next to each other and you have 2 point guards on the court, you're pretty much hoping that Halliburton's passing to De'Aaron Fox and getting the points there because he is a pretty high usage rate guy.
Wow. Okay. Well, we're really on the same page today. So you mentioned Jones. I'm guessing we're going to get to him later.
Yep.
But I didn't see his points line at all posted today. I'm just now seeing it at 10.5.
Hammer.
That's right. That's really good, right?
Hammer that baby, dude.
Wow.
I won't get into it too much just because I have a little bit on him in a bit, but he's actually my. Yeah, we'll talk about him in a second.
We'll get there.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it.
Yeah.
Sam says sneaky pivot. I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's the spot. Honestly, 4.5 at that money. I'm getting 4 assist discount on a true point guard. On a guy who's going to have the ball in his hand in a fast break type of atmosphere, man. I'll take that all day.
The other thing, too, is the Hawks' perimeter defense isn't that good. Halliburton might be more likely to just pull up and shoot in this game. I mean, Fox, I liked his points yesterday, and I liked Halliburton's assist because the Lakers, you can really attack them in the interior, and that's kind of where Fox goes to work. He really goes to work in the paint. Now with Capella there, his defensive stats are down this year. Or is Capella in? He's in, right?
I think so. Yep.
Yeah. With Capella in, I mean, it's going to be a little bit harder for Fox to score in the paint. Well, that outside defense is much worse. So I really could see Halliburton settling for a lot more shots on the outside. Well, we see Fox as the kind of guy that drives and kicks out to other guys. So yeah. I don't mind Fox as a pivot, honestly. I don't like the juice. It's like minus 140. That's kind of the biggest problem right now.
Yeah, and this is something crazy too. Is the whole part about betting and all this is you want to find the value. All the Halliburton value is completely gone. There is no Halliburton value anywhere. You're going to tell me that Tyrese Halliburton deserves to be $200 cheaper than De'Aaron Fox on FanDuel tonight? Yeah. No chance. There's absolutely no chance. De'Aaron Fox can score pretty easily. He's shooting really well from the outside. Like last night is a perfect kind of stat line here. You're seeing 34 minutes, 7 points, 4 rebounds, 9 assists. Like I don't know where we got this narrative that Tyrese is just as good as De'Aaron Fox. I mean, we've seen him in spurts, but you have to kind of see it over a long season here. And I think that obviously Halliburton, when Fox wasn't in there, was cooking, man. He made a ton of people money. I still pray for him, man, because he made me money here. So, but it's kind of, like you got to hit it when the line moves down on that. When he has a bad game, then hit Halliburton. but we're coming off a 9 assist game and 3 or 4 straight double-digit assist games prior to that. It's tough to find the value there.
Agreed.
All righty. Let's get to our DFS. We'll get to more questions. You guys keep dropping them in there. We'll get to them. We're going with our cheap DFS, and we get to talk about my boy Jones, but we'll go to yours first with Matthews.
Yeah, no, we're on the same page. I'm going to be playing both of these guys, so we'll talk about that a little bit more. But I love Garrison Matthews as a player in general, but now he's actually, well, first of all, let's get this out the way. DFS people love this. It's a revenge game here.
Oh, yeah.
He gets the Washington Wizards, who he played for last year. They decided they didn't want to keep him on. And he's actually just completely balled out with the Rockets. He just coming back off injury, I believe, for the last game off of COVID protocols, and he slipped right into a huge workload, scored 23 points, grabbed 7 rebounds. He's kind of one of those guys that I tell people to avoid guys like Duncan Robinson, guys like Joe Harris when he's healthy, Luke Kennard even, that only shoot, right? They're only out there to shoot. I mean, Matthews has multiple 3-steal games. He leads the league in charges taken per 36 minutes. The guy
should get fantasy points for that, huh?
I wish, but the point is the guy's just out there absolutely doing everything he can to keep his team in the game and help them win. He plays for the fucking Rockets and he's still doing it. He's an absolute hustle player. He'll get his assists when they're available. He'll fight for those boards when it's an option. And the guy was consistently scoring 20 points a game earlier in the season. I think a lot of us forgot about this because he went in COVID protocols after his hot streak. He's a real streaky shooter. He'll go on these 5-game up streaks, and then he'll go on 5-game streaks where he only scores, 8 points a game. But considering the fact that he just dropped 23 in his first game back, I really think Matthews is just going to ball out. We're in a pretty good matchup right here against Washington. Their defense isn't quite the same with all these guys out right now. It's a little bit harder for the bigs to score than it is the outside shooters, the guards right now. I think Matthews probably scores 18 points tonight, grabs a couple assists, sits at around 5 rebounds, grabs a steal or 2. I think we're in a great spot right here to get some value on a guy that people might have forgotten about while he's been out with COVID.
Yeah, he's cheap enough too, right? That's what you need, right? On a slate this big, you want to grab some studs, and the only way to do that is to grab a couple of these cheap guys. And I'm going to be rolling with a super cheap guy. Damian Jones is $4,400 on FanDuel. That's $900 over the minimum. This man has been playing in his last, 6 games, 20-plus minutes in his last 6 games. Last 2 have been 29 and 28, double-digit scoring in his last 3 games. I really like this dude. I think this matchup with Capella is not scary at all. His defense really hasn't been there this year. I'm not afraid of that matchup. And Damian Jones, like I said, $4,400 for a guy that could possibly be flirting with 30 minutes here. I mean, who's the other guy even on this roster in their backup? Alex Len. I don't think Alex Len's going to be doing too much here with Capella. I prefer Damian Jones. I think Damian Jones is so much more athletic. This dude is so nice. When he's in there, when he's on the court, it's weird for him to go like 2 or 3 possessions without grabbing a board when he's on the court. He's just a ball hawk, goes right for it. And when you have guys like De'Aaron Fox and Halliburton who are both getting these assists like we were talking about, it's going to be either to Buddy Hield or Damian Jones under here too. Harrison Barnes, underrated passer as well from the wing, could be feeding down to Jones here as well. Capella's a guy who does like to go for blocks. Again, we talked about that as a guy who can get an offensive rebound putback. Those are massive here. And a guy who pretty much for me to hit value on this slate, if we're going for tournaments here, I just need a 30 piece from him. And if we get 30, we're getting close to 10X here. He's hit 32 times in his last 5 games. He hit 28 in the game prior to that. So in his last 6 games, 3 of them have been over 28 points. And that is elite value right there. 4,400 getting me to 28 points. I will take that all day. Just cutting to those big guys. Like if you're paying for Jokic or you're paying for those big guys, he'll do enough damage for me to save enough money to maybe get to like the James Hardens of the world or KDs.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is real interesting, right? Jones is a guy that you kind of look at him and he's bounced around a lot. And you're kind of like, why does this guy keep like, I know he's better than Alex Len. Like, I watched the Wizards play last year, and I think Jones actually made a stop over at the Wizards at one point. He's been on like a lot of teams over the last couple of years, but you're watching guys like Alex Len get minutes, and you're like, Damian Jones is better than this guy. Why isn't he playing? Well, it seems like the Kings have kind of finally figured it out. I mean, he started the last 2 games. He played 29 minutes in each. He obviously went over that 10.5 points number I was talking about in both games. He just has good touch around the rim. He's kind of always in the right place, and he's very athletic down there too. We've now got 2 point guards playing on the court at the same time, so that's multiple pick and roll partners with both Fox and Halliburton in there. This is real sneaky. A lot of guys are going to go to Jokic and Embiid at the top for good reason, but it's interesting that we have such good value down here. I think we're definitely going to have to sneak him in a couple of these lineups right here.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, you're getting some pretty big guys back. You can throw in your Beals against Houston, obviously pay up options there, and Luka against Golden State. It's just there's so many good guys on this slate when you're playing a spot this big, right? When you're on a slate this big, that you need that value, or else you're never going to be able to get to those big guys that are slate breakers, right? Luka's putting up a 70 piece. You need him in your lineup. Like last game, I think it was Anthony Simons had like 60. And if you didn't have him, you're done. Obviously, you don't get that very often. You don't get many of these super cheap guys to put up a 60 spot. But Jones has the ability to get me 30 points. I'll take that all day.
Completely agree.
All right, let's get to our top guys.
Yep. Okay, I'm going with who could quite possibly be the hottest player in the league right now that for whatever reason, absolutely nobody is talking about him right now. Fred VanVleet has been playing great basketball recently. I mean, when you just look at what he's doing for this Toronto Raptors team that has a lot of young guys on it too, I mean, he's just playing out of his mind right now. Not only is he getting there with scoring 30 plus points, and I believe 5 straight games, but he also, I mean, he touches the ball so much, right? He pretty much takes the ball down every single possession, especially with Lowry not there anymore, which means there's double potential in every single game, and it's pretty good, right? He has a pretty safe floor of around 5 assists per game. He has a pretty safe floor of 4 to 5 rebounds per game, but he also happens to have one of the highest upsides in all of basketball right now, and nobody's really talking about it. Now we get the Bucks, who, while on paper have a great defender like Drew Holiday, they give up the most 3-pointers in the league. Fred VanVleet has 4 3-pointers in 7 of his last 8 games. I mean, we're getting a smash spot right here. We've seen over the last couple of years, once again, no hate to Drew Holiday. I'm not trying to say he's not a good defender, because he obviously is a very good defender. Some players even calling him the best defender in the league. But this team constantly, the Bucks constantly let other players settle for threes. And when you're hot, you're hot. And Fred VanVleet is really hot right now. I mean, I'm not saying it's likely he's going to drop 30, 40 points, but I really think he has a significantly higher chance to do it than a lot of these other guys on the slate. And he's just not getting the same respect due to the fact that he doesn't have the same name value. Additionally, those defensive stats add up. Fred VanVleet has a steal in 91% of his games this year. And somebody earlier said that if you added Jokic to 10 plus rebounds to that Fox play, it would bring it down to even money. Something I've just been doing recently, just add Fred VanVleet to have 1 steal to pretty much anything you want to bring the juice down. I mean, it's not safe necessarily, but he's done that in 28 of 31 games this year. He has a steal in all but 3 games this season. So all those kind of stats add up. He's playing hotter than almost anyone in the league right now. Now he gets a matchup where they're going to let him shoot threes all day. I think he will. I think this is a great spot for him, and I just don't think he's getting the respect he deserves right now.
Yeah, no, definitely. Fred VanVleet's tough, man. He's good. Obviously, they're still not fully healthy over there either yet. So Fred VanVleet can help you in so many different ways. It's not like he's just trying to be a shooter like we were talking about with Garrison Matthews. I mean, 5+ assists in the last 3 games. I mean, he missed those 2 games. If you go back, he's had 5 assists in 8 straight games on 5 assists. It's pretty crazy. I mean, multiple steals. I mean, those are what win you tournaments, right? Those are what take down tournaments.
Yeah.
And I'm going with another guy kind of like that, and Cade Cunningham tonight. I had to see how he was going to do in his first game, right? His first game back off the COVID stuff. He missed 4 games. Comes back and drops 7. He plays 37 minutes. 37 minutes, 19, 4, and 7 with a block. And he's sitting at a nice $7,500 price tag. Nothing too crazy here. And now you have probably one of the best matchups you can possibly get in Charlotte. I think Cade Cunningham is going to be one of those dudes that kind of breaks the slate open, to be honest. And he's not overly priced because he did miss so many games there. And he's literally possibly one of those guys who can get triple-double action. He's able to do that so often. He's getting close. He had 7 assists. And the thing is he could go for a double-double on assists or rebounds. It's just one of those guys that you don't really see that much from. And now without Grant, with that thumb injury, man, you could just see that usage just floating everywhere. Him and Saddiq Bey playing absolutely phenomenal basketball right now for this Detroit team that is looking actually pretty good. Took my Bucks down in that last game, which obviously it's the NBA. That's why you play the games, guys, because these younger guys have to prove something. You want to put out good tape, and damn, it was a crazy game. Yeah, that's a tough matchup too with the Bucks there. And then Cade Cunningham still ended up with I think a mid-30s performance. I think that at a minimum is what we're getting tonight. Because he only grabbed 4 boards on the season. He's grabbing 6 a game. So I think we get a nice little game here from Cade Cunningham. These two will probably be in most of my lineups. I'm actually making a lineup while we're doing this on my screen just because we're talking about it. And it's starting to come around pretty nicely.
Yeah, and I mean, something like you just said too, Cade had a pretty tough matchup the other day against the Bucks. Now he literally gets the best matchup in basketball, right? Like thinking through it earlier, I was trying to figure out who to decide from in this game, right? I was trying to think, who do I want to bet on the Pistons? And it's like, well, who thrives in the paint? Who thrives from beyond the arc? And when you look at it, the Hornets just can't defend anywhere. Like it's not like there's one specific spot where they are easy to attack. Their defense is just atrocious. They play at a fast pace. I mean, this is just going to be one of those games where a lot of points, I think, are going to be scored on the Detroit side. Obviously, Charlotte's going to have to answer, although Detroit does have a decent defense. Isaiah Stewart being out does kind of hurt because Garza, at the center position is not quite what we're hoping for. I don't know if Lyles is healthy or not for this game, but
yes, he is playing tonight.
Okay, so yeah, both of those guys will kind of keep down the middle of the field, but I think Cade will just kind of score almost at will in this game. I mean, we know Bay's been chucking up a lot of shots in his absence, but I think we'll see that come back down to earth a little bit. Cade is both efficient, but I mean, if we get him to take 20 shots in this game against a bad Charlotte defense, then he could really be slate breaking right here. And I haven't heard too many people talk about this either. So playing a guy like Cade can really make sure you can play the chalk too if you.
Very contrarian, yeah. There's like I said, in these big slates, you're going to see Harden highly owned. You're going to see a ton of these other guys that have bigger names. Like Cade Cunningham is good, man. Like I've watched a lot of their games. I bet on Cade Cunningham more than probably most people. I bet on him a lot because he finds a way to get stuff done. The ball's in his hands way more than people assume, way more than people think. And Saddiq Bey, I've been betting his rebounds a ton. It's because I've been betting him the rebounds because Cade's out. And Cade's one of the best rebounding guards in the NBA, even though he's only a rookie. He's still one of the best rebounding guards. He's huge. He is a point guard, but he is massive. And like I said, we'll talk about it here in a little bit. A little sneak peek for my long shot here. But I think we got a chance here. A good night from Cade Cunningham.
Yep.
All right, we got De'Aaron Fox to score 30 at plus 440. Oh, damn. Okay. Van Vliet to score 30 at plus 470. I mean, the Fox one's a little bit of a stretch for me, to be honest. I would maybe alternate his points, rebounds, assists line just because he does a great job at passing the ball as well.
Yeah, no, I would lean the Van Vliet out of these two right here, obviously. Just, Fox, he's got a lot of competition there, but Ben
Same thing with the Hornets, right? The same thing with the Hornets. They just have so many dudes.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a good question, actually. Van Vliet was the first guy I looked at on the slate yesterday, and I got away from his points for whatever reason. You just kind of get distracted looking through stuff. I kind of regret not getting that out. And I mean, I'm still looking at today's slate, to be honest. I do like Van Vliet a lot, and he definitely could still end up on my card. It's just kind of figuring out the right combination of plays, which way I want to go. But yeah, no, I love Van Fleet. And yeah, actually before this, I was messing around in the DraftKings same game parlay. I was trying to figure out if I could get him to hit 3 threes and a steal for decent odds, but it was minus 180. So I'm still working on that. I'm trying to figure out a way to get him in a prop because I do like Van Fleet a lot. Also, back-to-backs scare me. That's the other thing. I hate playing guys on back-to-backs. It's not as bad this year. Last year was bad, right? Because there were so many. This year there's slightly less, so it's not quite as bad. But working through what happens on a back-to-back is tough.
Yeah, no, I like it too. I see. Let's see. I think I just found it on my book. I just bet it at 21.5. I think that's a good spot here tonight. Perfect. Monotone. Maybe please see whatever picture is behind you. That's colorful. Very curious.
Let's keep him in suspense. I'll let you know on Friday. How about that? I'll be right here on Friday. Tune back in. Big reveal.
Perfect. All right. That's the last question. Let's get to long shots.
Sounds good. All right, perfect. We're starting out with mine right here. And I mean, I don't have to talk about it too much more because I already have touched on both of these guys over the course of the show. But obviously, these are two of the guys I like the most tonight. So I'm going to kind of go back to the well right here. I see Taylor says deal. We'll reconvene on Friday. Sounds good. But yeah, so Van Fleet actually had 5 threes earlier in the year against the Bucks. Like they've already played once. He already had 5 threes. So that already gives me a lot of confidence. But additionally, the guy's playing out of his mind. I mean, he's shooting the ball better than almost anyone else in the league right now. He's like as hot as you can be. And like I said, we're getting now a Bucks team that is going to dare you to shoot the ball. So normally I don't look at a player shoot the ball from beyond the arc. And normally I don't like to look at kind of how a player is doing right now. And we'll kind of see that with Herro. You just kind of look at the opportunity that presents itself. And I think this is one of the best opportunity there is. I mean, the Bucks do have a good defense, like I've said multiple times, but they really give up a ton of spike performances to guards because when you get hot, they're not really going to change their game plan. They kind of trust what they do. They roll it out. You know this, right? I mean, we've seen it. Didn't Kevin Porter Jr. kind of do the same thing at the end of last year?
Last year, he dropped a 50-piece on him.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. So it's just kind of one of those situations where he's in a perfect spot to kind of stay hot right here, and he's going to get him up. I think he takes 10 to 13 threes. Betting on him to shoot 50% and for an outlier performance isn't too bad. He shot 50% last night. I don't see why he can't keep it up. Now we're moving on to Tyler Herro to have 4+ threes. Another one of those things. Both of these are only plus 170 on their own. It's not like we're asking for some crazy, event to happen like some of these long shots I see out there. It's not like these guys haven't done this before. This is almost just another day for both of these guys. And to see it at plus 509, I really like those odds. I was thinking this would be kind of closer to plus 375, something around that. But yeah, Herro actually has taken over 10 threes in almost every single game without Jimmy Butler this season. It's pretty much just him and Kyle Lowry that are going to be responsible for creating all the offense on this team. This isn't even his highest offering on FanDuel. It's 4. I could have been greedy and gone to 5, but I think 4 does have the best value right here. So at plus 509, this is one of my favorite long shots on the slate.
Beautiful. Like I said, these are all matched up with stuff we already have. So it's something that easily could happen if our bets go well, right? If our bets go well, we're having a huge day. And we're going to go right back to it with one of mine. I'm going Cade Cunningham, Josh Giddey, double parlay here. And like I said, I'm high on Cade Cunningham. I think tonight's one of those bigger nights. Like if you go back to before he got in COVID, New York Knicks, he had 7 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. The game prior against Miami, he had 10 assists. Against Houston, he had 11 assists, 7 rebounds. So in those 3 games prior, he's getting 10 of another peripheral category that we're looking for to get this double-double. I'm seeing plus 300 on this. A 3-to-1 chance that he gets it, I think, is absurd in a game that's going to have so many possessions. Really, the only thing that's going to stop this is a blowout, and that's obviously very possible. But like I said, everybody thought the Bucks were going to blow this team out. This team is scrappy. This team wants to play. And you're going to also see Trey Lyles, a center that can shoot, having to go against Plumlee. Like, come on. That's a great matchup for him. Saddiq Bey's playing out of his mind. That's a guy shooting a ton of threes. Guess who's getting most of those assists on those? Cade Cunningham. That's what's going to have to happen tonight. Cade Cunningham is going to have a ceiling game for this team not to lose by 20. And that's what I'm expecting. That's what I'm hoping we're going to get here. Like, you're going to throw your best defender on him, probably Terry Rozier. Okay, Cade Cunningham's like 3 or 4 inches taller than him. Like, there's every single spot that I'm looking at this game, Cade Cunningham is coming out on top of his matchup here. And then Giddey. His first game back for Shy, so I get it. There's a little bit. That's why I think the value's there. We're getting a plus. I got plus 200, plus 195 on this. If Alexander wasn't in, I'm guessing this would be like plus 100 for a double-double, to be completely honest here. And we had, like I said, triple-double last game. But against New Orleans, he double-doubled with no points. Like, you don't see that ever. And I think we've had 10 or more of something in 1, 2, 3, 4 of his last 7 games. So opportunities there. I think the plus 195 is great value here. Throw them together, we're getting around almost 1,100. I'll take that all day.
Yeah, I mean, both of these guys have that rare kind of thing that you look for in double doubles where they can get there on either assists or rebounds, right?
That's what you look for. Yep.
Yeah, when you bet a center, when you bet Rudy Gobert to have a double double, if he doesn't get 10 rebounds, he's not getting there. The guy might have never had 10 assists in his life, But with a guy like Cade, who has shown this all throughout his college career, if it's not there with the rebounds, there's a very good chance it'll be there with the assists. Giddey is actually interesting because he does have a lot of scoring potential, unlike the guy I'm about to compare him to, but he's really been putting up a lot of these Draymond numbers, right? Mm-hmm. Where he's handing out like 13 assists, 8 rebounds and like 7 points. And you're just like, how did this happen? But I mean, the guy actually is like a scorer, right? Like when he was playing overseas, that is what he was doing. It's just kind of that NBA transition. I'm not going to put him in the Draymond category, obviously, but both of these guys are very live to get there in either rebounds or assists. And I think 10 points is pretty safe for either one. So to get this at, the odds that we're getting it at, I think that's great value once again right here.
Yeah, I really like this one. I think that we have a chance. Cunningham was my only long shot hit of this of the show that we've had. So don't mind going back to him, especially when I'm getting 11-1. All right, so I don't see many questions. I do think that Cade alone there is perfect. I like that. 3-1. And yep, I did. Yep. Giddy up, baby. Giddy up. Love it. Love it. Love it. I don't see any other questions in here. So let's just do a little quick recap of all your plays and I'll run through mine. And then we'll be right on out of here. Under an hour again. We're doing pretty good at this.
Oh yeah. All right. Yep. We're starting out with Aaron Gordon over 12 points. Remember, it's 13 on FanDuel right now. That's good to go. And if Gobert is out, I assume it's going to go to 14 everywhere. I would say it's good to go there too. Tyler Herro over 23.5 points.
And then we'll go to your DFS one there.
Yep. I'm on Garrison Matthews right here as kind of the cheaper value play. And then for my top play, it's Fred VanVleet. And then finally, our 3-point long shot parlay right here. It's Fred VanVleet to knock down 5 threes, Tyler Herro to knock down 4 threes. It's plus 509 over on FanDuel right now.
Yeah, that Fred VanVleet one is not that hard to get, to be honest. The Bucks are going to play that sink defense. No Budenholzer either, man. That's going to be that's a tasty price there for sure. I'm going to be rolling with Jokic. We're going to go 12.5 rebounds, 1.5 units there. This is DraftKings exclusive. Gafford double. Take that plus money all day. Pretty much just hoping for 10 rebounds at this point for him. Damian Jones, the cheapest man that can get me 30 points. We'll roll with it. 4,400 over on FanDuel tonight. Cade Cunningham, 7,500 on FanDuel tonight. I think is just in an absolute smash spot here. And we're going back to the well. Josh Giddey double plus 195. Cade Cunningham plus 290. We're getting a nice little payout, 10-1 there. So, Drew, Cade, and Giddey triple-double. I mean, throw 50 cents on it for me. That'll probably still pay me like $300.
Yeah, no, I mean Drew gets up there though, right? When Giannis is out those games, it's not like a consistent thing, but he gets close. I don't know. I like where our head's at right here. I think it's worth a dollar or two.
Honestly, to be honest, I think this is more of a Middleton game. I think this screams a little bit more of a Middleton game than a Drew game, just because Middleton's a better shooter. Toronto's a lot better in the paint, and that's where Drew makes most of his living, is getting through. VanVleet's a pretty damn good defender too, so he doesn't get a lot of credit for that. But you talked about his steals. I think that's very, very live tonight. I think that I think this is a Middleton game. This just seems kind of like that type of feel to a Middleton type of matchup. He'll probably be in more of my FanDuels than the Drew Holiday, just because Drew Holiday's priced up, man. 9,200 on FanDuel versus 77 on Middleton. I don't understand that. And a sign off here. What do you got to say for us, Monotone, before we head out of here?
Yep. I mean, I'm ready to go. I think we got a lot of good ones today, and I think it's a great slate. There'll be more from me. There'll probably be more from you. I'd be willing to bet online. So I'm excited to get some winners. Got my guy right here. So yeah, I think it'll be a good one.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. I like the slate. Obviously, have both of our Twitter's handles in the description. Make sure you go follow us over there if you want more free plays. We'll be posting those all night, I'm sure, leading up to tip-off. Again, if you guys are enjoying the content, drop a like for us. Hopefully, we'll be able to make you guys some money tonight on Pass the Prop NBA edition for the 5th of January. But I think we're good to go. I don't see any other questions. Yeah, I think we'll have a great slate. I'm excited for tonight. Looking forward to making some money with you guys. We will see you guys Friday.